Thank you for joining me. This is Fly My Phantom. You probably heard about remote ID. DJI is now including it on the latest firmware, and while it doesn't affect me in the United Kingdom, it will be affecting people in America. I'm not quite sure. It's supposed to be something about people can track where the pilot is sat using this remote ID system. Not sure how that works, but as always, the DJI OGs have come up with a way to turn it off, and this is this software here, CIA Jeep Doors version 1.3. It was originally a Python program, but Binaries wrapped it into a easy to use Visual Basic program, and it basically works by just disabling the drone ID within your quad itself. I'm going to connect up the Mini 2. I'm going to show you how easy it works. Okay, so I've got the Mini 2 on the bench here. I'm going to power it up and connect it. There are two options. There is bulk and comport. Now bulk, I believe, is for the new Mini 3 series, and comport is for the older ones. If you're not sure which one, just try either one. Now with the Mini 2, you've got to connect it up and be really quick, because once you boot it up, if it's not connected to anything, it just defaults to SD card. So you need to power this on. I'm going to wait for the chimes, plug that in. I'm going to wait for the first dudunk. Refresh the comport list, connect to it, and then click on connect drone. There we go, I'm now connected now. Now at this point I can send disable or the enable command. As you can see, it's currently disabled. So I was talking before about the RID. I'm not an expert on it. Your best bet is to go over to or just do a Google search or have a look on YouTube to see whether or not drone ID does affect you where you are. And obviously then decide whether or not you want to disable it or whether you want to leave it enabled. I don't know what the consequences are of disabling it, so I'm not going to say disable it and then obviously you then get in trouble and you come back to me and you go, yeah, it was your fault, you told me to disable it. Now as always with DJI, they are crafty, and I have read in the instructions that if you have an iOS device with the latest DJI Fly on it, or an Android device with the latest DJI Fly, so it's both, that once you connect this to this to this, then drone ID gets re-enabled. So I'm actually going to check that now, and we're going to see whether or not it actually does. So I'm going to just put that in there for a second like this. Oop. Such a tight fit, there we go. I'm going to power on the controller, power up the quad, wait for it to connect, unlock the iPad. Wrong lead. I knew I'd do that. I'm so used to using iOS devices with the old lightning cable. Forgot this one is USB-C. Bear with me a second while I just swap the lead over. There we go. Okay, I'm going to plug that in now. Hopefully it should launch DJI Fly. It might launch Litchi actually. There we go. Actually, we'll test Litchi, because if Litchi doesn't change the drone ID, then I will recommend using Litchi. Right. So I'm going to click on Go Fly, and that's now done. So now I need to turn it off, connect the quad to the tool, and see whether or not my remote ID has been re-enabled. So I'm going to just power that off, turn that off, put that out of the way for a second, I don't need that. Let's go back to the tool here, power on. Wait for the tones. Okay, plug that in. Go back to the tool here. I'm going to click on comport. Refresh the list. Drop down. Connect drone. Yes, you can see drone ID is enabled now. It was all zeros before. It's now all ones. So we're going to do the same thing this time, but we're now going to use an Android tablet, which has got DJI Fly on it. I think it is the latest version, so bear with me a second, I'll just swap over to that. Of course I need to disable drone ID again, so bear with me, I'll just power that on. Plug in, comport, refresh the list, connect drone, and then disable it. I'm going to just send disable command, and now you can see it's all set back to zeros. Okay, going to quit out of that, and we'll get the Android tablet sorted out. Okay, I've got the DJI Fly up ready to go. I'm just going to just launch that. The quad has been set to to default, so it is now got the RID removed on it. We'll let the app launch itself. There we go. Right, so that's now launched. So let's see now whether that has indeed reset that to being RID enabled. So let's power off the quad. And we'll need to then get the program up. Power it on. Wait for the chime. Connects up. And yes, drone ID is enabled. Again, more ones than was on the iOS version. But I suppose it just means either way that it has been enabled. So it looks like any of the new versions the new version of the app, I should say, will cause this. So let's see whether or not Litchi re-enables it. The drone has been set back to default, so I'm going to just open up. I'm going to connect up and I'm going to run Litchi. Let Litchi get enabled, connected. Right, okay, that's fine. So let's now turn off the controller, turn off the quad.
Warning, signal lost.
Yep, thank you very much, Litchi, for that. We know. Let's kill you. Unplug that for a second. And let's now go back to the tool. Right, let's see. Wait for the tones. Plug in. And choose COM port. Refresh the list. Connects up and connect drone. And yes, drone ID is enabled. It's a bit different to the other one. There wasn't as many ones. There's actually double the ones in there. So I'm going to guess that Litchi also enables the drone ID settings as well, which is a bit pants, but it's built in the same SDK as the DJI Fly and all the rest of it, so I'm guessing it would do. Bit disappointing that. Oh, there's a little pop-up box. I'm just bringing that over. It says, please keep in mind that the new drone firmware versions, the settings will not work anymore. Okay, I was going to cover that, but I'll cover it now. The newest firmware, I think it's 0105, whatever it is, for the Mini 2, has drone ID built into it. You can't turn it off. And it does say that Android Fly versions and iOS versions will also reset it. So if you're unfortunate enough to have upgraded your quad to the latest version and you can't disable drone ID, well, I'm very sorry about that. If you've got any questions, do feel free to drop me a message below and I'll try and answer them as best I can. Otherwise, that's it for me. Thank you very much for watching. Take care, and as always, fly safely.